beloved chosen one. Listen, everything around you is slowing for a reason. Heaven has pressed pause. The noise, the scrolling, the endless motion, it halts. Not by coincidence, but by divine interruption. You are being summoned, right here, right now. The message you are about to hear is not random. It is a heavenly dispatch, a wake-up call wrapped in urgency. This moment finds you because you are marked. You have felt it before the restlessness. The sense that something far greater than yourself is stirring beneath the surface of your ordinary days. You are not ordinary, and this is not just another message on your screen. This is heaven knocking. The stillness is not empty, it is holy. It is the sound of destiny catching up with you. Everything that has confused you, delayed you, and tested you is suddenly beginning to make sense. You have been asking questions about why certain things didn't work, why certain doors closed, why you were pulled away from people who seemed essential to your journey. The answer is this: God was separating you for divine protection, divine timing, divine purpose. Not everything was rejection, some of it was redirection. Listen carefully, your calling has always made you different. While others could blend in, you never could. Even in moments when you tried to silence that inner fire, it refused to die. You carried light in dark places, and darkness recognized it long before you did. You were chosen not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. You were never meant to fit in. You were designed to stand out, to shine, to break patterns that others were too afraid to confront. Heaven is whispering, do not ignore this moment. You can sense it, something sacred presses against your spirit. It's not anxiety, it's awakening. The uneasiness you felt lately isn't punishment, it's preparation. God is trying to make room for something new, and sometimes that requires Him to make you uncomfortable where you are. Every frustration, every delay, every strange silence has been a message coded in divine language. Wait. Something greater is being written. There were nights when you thought you were forgotten. You whispered prayers into the dark and heard nothing back. But heaven was listening. The silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. You were hidden for your protection. If God had exposed you too early, those assigned to destroy you would have had the chance. But now, the time of hiding ends. The covering is lifting. Your name is being whispered in rooms your feet haven't yet entered. Chosen one, you must understand there are no coincidences in your path. Every loss carved depth into your spirit. Every disappointment built discernment. Every lonely hour trained your hearing to recognize the voice of the Almighty. You weren't delayed, you were developed. The anointing you carry required fire, and you have walked through enough flame to know the cost of your calling. That is why this message finds you today. Heaven does not waste words. When God speaks, reality bends. When He calls, creation shifts to make room for His purpose in you. You are standing in a sacred intersection, past behind you, promise before you, and this moment in between. Right now, heaven is watching to see what you do next. Will you ignore the pull, or will you recognize the divine interruption and step into obedience, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old? The prophet Isaiah declared in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." This is not a verse meant to decorate walls, it is a decree meant to awaken warriors. You have been running, weary, wings clipped by the weight of yesterday. But now, strength is being renewed. Your weariness is about to turn into wind. The same storms that tried to break you will become the air beneath your wings. You will rise, not by effort, but by alignment. Listen to me, God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. That is why you've survived storms others could not. That is why, when others gave up, you found yourself still standing, though bruised, though bleeding, though barely breathing at times. Because grace kept you, mercy carried you, purpose refused to let you die in the middle of the story. You are the one heaven preserved for this hour. Do not let doubt steal this revelation. The enemy would love nothing more than for you to dismiss this message as coincidence. But deep down, you know it's not. You feel that electric stirring in your chest, that recognition that you are being seen, called, chosen. Every hair on your arm stands up. Every memory of pain suddenly aligns with purpose. This is not entertainment. This is encounter. So now, beloved, as heaven watches, I ask you to respond not for me but for the angels that record obedience. This is your prophetic act of agreement. Type the number 777 in the comments as a sign that you choose alignment over hesitation, destiny over distraction. 7 is the number of divine completion, and by writing it, you declare, I receive what heaven is releasing right now. And while you are here, subscribe, because this message is only the beginning. There are more divine revelations waiting to find you, and each one will draw you deeper into your calling. You are not watching by accident. You are hearing the sound of your assignment being unlocked. Let heaven know you are ready. You were never ordinary. That's why your path has always been misunderstood. People saw your smile but never sensed the weight you carried behind it. They thought you were just another dreamer, another believer with impossible hopes, but heaven knew who you truly were, a carrier of light disguised in human form. You have always felt it, haven't you? That silent awareness that your life has meaning beyond what you can explain. That inner ache every time you tried to fit into places where your spirit couldn't breathe. You were not rejected, you were refined. Chosen one. God marked you long before anyone ever misunderstood you. The world trained you to hide, but heaven has been preparing to reveal. From childhood, there were signs: unusual sensitivity, deep discernment, sudden shifts in atmosphere when you entered a room. You felt energies others couldn't feel, pain others ignored, and truth others mocked. It wasn't imagination, it was calling. You were designed to see beyond the surface, to carry the fire of discernment where deception reigns. The strange pattern of your life was never random, it was divine architecture. The reason people walked away was not because you were unworthy, but because your spirit disturbed what was asleep in them. Darkness recognizes light even when light doesn't yet recognize itself. Every rejection, every betrayal, every false accusation, they were spiritual confirmations. The anointing you carry is not gentle to falsehood. It exposes, it provokes, it divides. You are not meant to be liked by everyone because the light you carry reveals what some would rather keep hidden. You've asked why the same cycles keep repeating, why breakthroughs seem near, then slip away. The truth is, God has been protecting the timing of your revelation. He cannot release you into your full purpose while your heart still seeks validation from places beneath your assignment. You are being purified of that need. The applause of people can no longer feed your spirit. What's coming next requires you to be anchored only in heaven's approval. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. This is not just comfort, it is command. You fought battles that were never yours to fight. You've exhausted yourself trying to prove what heaven already established. The stillness God calls you to isn't laziness, it's trust. It is the spiritual posture of someone who knows the outcome has already been written. You are not losing, you are being positioned. Stillness is strategy. There is greatness stirring inside you. It's been pressing against your chest, whispering in your sleep. showing up in dreams and sudden waves of emotion you couldn't explain. You have outgrown smallness. You've tried to shrink back into old spaces, but your spirit refuses. That tension you feel is destiny stretching you. You are being expanded for something larger than logic can comprehend. The pain of growth is proof that heaven is active in your story. You are being called to rise not in arrogance, but in awareness. To understand that your existence itself is warfare. The enemy attacks not because you are weak, but because you are influential in realms you haven't yet stepped into. That's why confusion followed you, why discouragement visited you right after every small victory. It's not bad luck, it's evidence of your significance. Darkness doesn't waste energy on what doesn't threaten it, so stop apologizing for your anointing. Stop toning down your truth so others feel comfortable around your conviction. You are not meant to blend in. You are meant to bring disruption to complacency. You are the sound of awakening in a generation that forgot how to listen. When you speak, things shift. When you pray, atmospheres change. When you walk into rooms, spiritual climates adjust. That's why this calling feels heavy, because it is holy. You are never ordinary, beloved. You are chosen to be a mirror of heaven's intent on earth. There are songs you were born to sing, words you were born to declare, chains you were born to break. And now, heaven whispers again, step into the fullness of who you are. Don't dim to survive, shine to lead. Every scar on you carries a sermon. Every tear has written a testimony. Now, I want you to make a declaration in faith. Type these words in the comments: I am awake. Write it boldly. This isn't about engagement, it's about agreement. When you type those 3 words, you are telling heaven you refuse to sleep through your own destiny. You are rejecting spiritual numbness and embracing awareness. You are declaring that the fog is lifting and you see clearly now who you are and why you're here. Each letter you type becomes a key unlocking another layer of your calling. This is your moment of recognition. Heaven is not waiting on the world to approve you, it's waiting on you to believe who you already are. You've been awakened not for comfort, but for conquest. The world doesn't need another copy, it needs your authenticity. You are the voice for those who've lost theirs, the light in places that forgot sunrise. Remember, this being chosen doesn't mean being celebrated, it means being set apart. It means being misunderstood until the manifestation comes. But when it comes, everything will make sense. Stay in alignment. Keep your faith steady, because the same God who hid you is about to reveal you. Beloved chosen one, there are battles no one has seen, wars that were never fought with swords or armies, but with tears, sleepless nights, and whispered prayers. You have survived seasons that would have crushed others, not because you were stronger, but because you were chosen. Every moment you thought was breaking you was really shaping you. You have been in training under the cover of darkness, forged in silence like gold in hidden fire. Heaven has been sculpting you when the world thought you were being forgotten. You see, not every wound bleeds. Some wounds are invisible, yet they carve deeper than any blade could reach. You've walked through those invisible fires, and the kind that left no scar on your skin but marked your soul forever. When you smiled at others, only heaven saw the tremor beneath that smile. When you comforted others, no one knew you were the one bleeding inside. But God saw it all. He saw your endurance when no one was clapping. He saw your faith when answers were delayed. He saw your strength when you thought you had none left. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 17. But I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord, because you are called an outcast, Zion for whom no one cares. That is heaven's promise to you. Restoration is coming, and not just physical, but emotional, spiritual, and divine. The same places where you were wounded will become wells of healing for others. The very area of your pain will become your pulpit. What once embarrassed you will empower you. What once made you cry will soon make you testify. You didn't know it, but your suffering was sacred schooling. Every heartbreak was a divine classroom teaching you compassion. Every betrayal trained your discernment. Every disappointment built your spiritual backbone. You are not broken, you are built. Heaven used your pain as material for purpose. Like a potter with clay, God pressed, reshaped, and refined you until you could hold His glory without cracking. And yet, many times you've looked at others smiling, shining, succeeding, and wondered, when is it my turn? You saw them celebrated while you were hidden. You saw them rewarded while you remained unseen. But beloved, gold is not exposed too soon. Diamonds do not advertise their process. The deeper the pressure, the greater the brilliance. You were buried not to die, but to take root. Now, it is time for those roots to push through the surface. You are rising not as the same person who fell, but as one reborn through fire. Your story carries the scent of resurrection. And when people look at you, they will not see the scars, they will see survival. They will sense power that can only come from someone who has wrestled with pain and refused to quit. But listen closely, your healing isn't just for you. You are being restored to restore others. You are called to be a light for those still lost in their dark nights. Every time you share your story, you lend someone else the courage to keep going. Every time you open your heart, you open a gate for another soul to find freedom. That's why I ask you, don't let this message stop with you. If it touched you, if you feel the truth vibrating through your spirit, then share it. Not out of habit, but out of purpose. When you share light, it multiplies. Someone scrolling tonight might be standing on the edge of giving up, and your simple act of sharing could pull them back. If these words remind you that you're not alone, like this message as a sign of agreement with heaven's promise. It may seem small, but every act of faith is a seed, and seeds, when sown with sincerity, never return empty. If you haven't already, subscribe. Not to follow a voice, but to stay connected to the stream of divine reminders meant to strengthen you. This is not entertainment. This is encounter. Each message is another drop of living water for your spirit. Stay near the flow and you'll find yourself growing in ways you didn't imagine. And for those who feel the pull to sow back into this message, to donate, I say this with gentleness, do it only if your heart agrees. Not out of pressure, not out of obligation, but if something inside you whispers, "This is feeding my spirit," then honor that voice. Your seed is not payment, it's participation. It is your way of saying, "I believe in the fire that is awakening souls." When you give, you're not just keeping a message alive, you're helping it reach the next hurting heart that needs to hear. You are not forgotten. Think of it this way, a single candle can light thousands without losing its flame. Every share, every like, every seed, every act of faith, you are handing that flame to someone else, somewhere in the dark. Another chosen one waits for a spark to find them. You could be that spark. The world needs your light, beloved. It needs the sound of your endurance, the echo of your faith, the radiance of your hope. You've already proven you can survive storms. Now it's time to shine after them. Your pain was never wasted. Your story is not over. This is the part where ashes turn into beauty, where tears turn into testimony, where silence turns into song. Heaven is still writing, and the next chapter has your name etched in gold. If this message reached the places words rarely touch, don't keep it to yourself. Like it, share it, subscribe, or give whichever your spirit leads, because light, when shared, becomes legacy. And this moment right here is how your legacy begins. Chosen one. Now you must see the truth behind the confusion, the plan the enemy crafted to pull you off your path. It was never about the people who hurt you, never about the sudden storms or the closed doors. It was always about your focus. If he could not destroy your destiny, he aimed to distract you from it. You were never under full attack, you were under spiritual distraction. The enemy's greatest weapon is not always warfare, it is noise. You've felt it, the endless busyness, the constant pressure to prove yourself, the cycle of emotional highs and lows that leave you exhausted but unchanged. It's not coincidence, it's strategy. The enemy knows if he can keep your eyes on the temporary, he can blind you to the eternal. That's why every time you get close to breakthrough, chaos seems to appear. It's not random, it's resistance. But listen closely. Beloved, resistance is the proof of proximity. The greater the distraction, the closer you are to deliverance. He tried to lure you with counterfeit blessings, relationships that looked divine but drained your peace. Opportunities that looked like open doors but led to detours. He wanted to confuse your discernment, to make you question whether you ever heard God clearly. But heaven says today the confusion ends here. You are regaining spiritual sight. The fog is lifting, and your vision is returning sharper than before. You will soon recognize every fake promise by the lack of peace it carries. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. You are never fighting people. You are fighting patterns, old cycles, unseen forces, and ancient fears that tried to disguise themselves as logic. The real war has always been invisible, and you, chosen one, have been its target because of the light you carry. The more you grow in purpose, the more valuable your attention becomes. That is why distraction has been relentless, because your focus is sacred currency in the kingdom. But now, your eyes are opening. You are beginning to see how much time the enemy stole by keeping you busy with things that never built you. He tried to make you chase approval, argue with shadows, and question your worth. Yet every time he thought you were finished, grace whispered your name again. You are still standing because you belong to the one who never loses. This season is not about addition, it's about alignment. God is removing what no longer fits your future. People who once walked with you may drift away, but do not grieve their departure. You are being elevated, and not everyone can breathe at higher altitudes. It is not rejection, it is refinement. God is trimming your circle so your roots can grow deeper. Heaven wants your undivided attention again. That's why certain comforts stopped working. The shows don't satisfy like they used to. The conversations you once enjoyed now feel shallow. It's because your spirit has matured beyond them. You can't drink from puddles when you were made for rivers. You are being drawn back to the secret place, to prayer, to stillness, to divine focus. This is where your power returns. This is where clarity descends like morning dew. You will begin to see connections between past and present, between pain and purpose. The fog that once surrounded you will dissolve, and direction will rise within you like sunlight breaking through clouds. You are not lost. You are being led. The enemy's plan was never to destroy your faith, it was to dull it. But you, chosen one, are waking up again. Your hunger for truth is coming alive. You are realizing that every battle had purpose, every loss had language, every delay had design. God was never silent, he was strategic. Now it's your turn to respond. Heaven listens when you act in faith. Right now, Type the number 444 in the comments as your declaration that your focus belongs to God alone. 4 is the number of foundation, and by writing it, you are declaring, I am rebuilding on divine ground. When you write that number, imagine it like planting a flag in spiritual soil, claiming your territory, your mind, your peace back from confusion. Heaven records obedience, and even small acts like this become prophetic movements in the unseen realm. You're not typing digits, you're making a decree. You're saying, no more distractions, no more detours, no more delay, and my focus is holy. Let that number become your reminder in coming days. When you feel pulled off track, whisper it again. 444 is a spiritual reset, a reminder that you are anchored in divine alignment. Beloved, the storm of confusion has served its purpose. It revealed your hunger for truth. You no longer chase noise, you pursue presence. You no longer seek approval, you seek assignment. You no longer run in circles, you move in purpose. The enemy failed. You still hear heaven, you still believe, you still rise. The veil begins to lift. Chosen one. Slowly, softly, as dawn breaks after a long night, the truth of your journey starts to unfold before your eyes. Everything that once seemed disconnected, every heartbreak, every rejection, every delay was never random. Heaven was orchestrating each piece, weaving threads of pain and grace into one divine pattern. And now, you stand in the quiet of revelation, where things finally begin to make sense. You can feel it, something shifting in the atmosphere around you. The weight on your shoulders feels different now. It's not the heaviness of confusion, it's the gravity of purpose. For the first time in a long time, your spirit recognizes what your heart has been waiting for understanding. You see now that nothing was wasted. Even the detours were divine directions in disguise. There was a time when you thought silence meant absence. You begged for answers and heard nothing, and you feared maybe heaven had turned away. But now you see that the silence was not punishment, it was protection. Had you heard too soon, you would have moved too early. Had you seen too much, you would have leaned on your strength instead of His. So heaven waited until you could receive revelation, not just information. This is the hour when hidden things are being revealed. The patterns of the past are unraveling, and what once felt like random chaos is being rewritten as divine order. God's fingerprints are all over your story, and you finally see them. He was never late. He was never far. He was teaching you to trust the unseen hand guiding every step. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 26, there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. You are living in that unveiling right now. The mysteries that used to torment you are turning into testimonies. You are understanding why you couldn't stay in certain places, why some people's hearts hardened toward you, why certain dreams felt delayed. They were not failures, they were divine filters. God was removing what could not carry the next level of your purpose. When revelation comes, it does not shout, it whispers. It enters the heart like a soft wind and rearranges everything quietly. Suddenly you remember moments that once hurt and realize how necessary they were. The betrayals that once broke you become blessings in hindsight. The tears you shed have watered the soil you now stand on. You begin to thank God for what He didn't allow, just as much as for what He did. And through it all, you realize He was never asking for perfection. He was asking for surrender. He didn't need you to have it all figured out. He needed you to keep showing up. Faith was not proven in your triumphs, but in your persistence when no results came. Every yes you whispered in the dark became a light in heaven's record of your faithfulness. You have learned to listen differently now. You don't just hear with your ears, you discern with your spirit. You sense divine timing in delays. You recognize disguised blessings in disappointments. You see doors closing, and instead of panicking, you pause, knowing that heaven shuts what is not aligned. You have matured into someone who no longer begs for signs, you carry them. Revelation changes posture. It replaces panic with peace, striving with surrender, confusion with clarity. You are walking lighter now, not because life got easier, but because your eyes are open. You no longer fight the process. You flow with it. You have discovered that even unanswered prayers were answers in disguise. You are standing in a sacred stillness, a space between what was and what will be. Don't rush this part. Let the clarity soak into your bones. The light of revelation doesn't just show where you're going. It reveals who you've become. You are no longer the same person who entered the storm. You have emerged wiser, deeper, and more sensitive to divine movement. And there is something holy about realizing that you were never alone in the confusion. Heaven was with you in the silence. Angels stood guard while you slept, and grace interceded when you had no strength left to pray. Everything that was hidden has been handled, and now, what once felt like mystery becomes meaning. You have not missed your moment, you've been molded for it. The revelation that comes now is not just for your understanding, but for your assignment. What you've seen and learned will guide others out of the same darkness. You are about to speak from scars that have healed into wisdom. The world will recognize something different in your words. They will carry weight because they come from revelation, not theory. Chosen one, let this truth settle deep within you. Have stepped out of confusion and into clarity. The night has ended. The light is here, and it shines from within you now. You stand now at a crossroads. Chosen one. One path leads back to comfort, the familiar, the predictable, the quiet fading of your light. The other leads to calling, a road narrow, steep, and lined with unseen tests. You can feel the pull between them, can't you? The tug of war between what is safe and what is sacred. Heaven is watching which way your feet will turn. You are not here by accident. This moment is divine invitation. The whisper you hear is not imagination, it's instruction. Every soul reaches this threshold once when obedience demands sacrifice. To step into destiny always costs something: your fear, your comfort, your hesitation. But oh, the glory waiting on the other side of surrender. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 8, verse 18. Declare, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. That's the truth you must hold on to. The weight you feel is not punishment, it is preparation. The resistance is not rejection, it is proof of worth. Every great promise in Scripture was birthed through surrender. Abraham left comfort, Moses left excuses, Esther left silence, and you, chosen one, must leave fear behind. Think of your life like a seed pressed into soil. From above, it looks like burial. From beneath, it feels like darkness. But what no one sees is that deep inside that seed, something divine is breaking open. It's painful, yes, but it's purpose. What seems like the end is actually the beginning of becoming. You are not buried, you are planted. And while you grow beneath the surface, heaven waters you with grace. The soil of obscurity is rich, it hides you until you're strong enough to rise. But now, the season shifts. The shell that once protected you is cracking, and light begins to seep in. You can't stay small anymore. The roots have been tested, and now the stem must stretch. Yet the world won't always understand your blooming. Some will call it pride when it's really purpose. Some will call it change when it's really growth. Do not apologize for evolving. Do not dim the color of your petals to make others comfortable in their shadows. You are rising because God called you to rise. You are blooming because destiny said, now, as you walk this next stretch, you'll need nourishment, spiritual water for your soul. That is why these messages find you, not to entertain, but to sustain. If they have stirred something sacred inside you, like this message as your silent amen. It's a simple act, but it tells heaven, I receive this truth. I agree with this call. And if you feel the fire burn deeper, share this message. You never know whose spirit hangs in the balance. Somewhere out there, another weary chosen one is searching for a sign that they haven't been forgotten. You could be the hand heaven uses to reach them. Your share becomes the bridge between despair and destiny. If your heart whispers to stay connected, subscribe. Not as a fan, but as a follower of divine rhythm. Each message is a drop of oil, and together they keep your inner lamp burning. In a world dimmed by distraction, that steady light keeps you awake and aware. And for those whose spirit feels stirred to donate, let me say this gently, give not out of pressure, but out of participation. You're not buying a blessing, you're building a bridge. Every seed you sow becomes a vessel that carries this word further across borders, across screens, into hearts that are hanging by a thread. Think of it like adding another wick to the fire. You make the flame reach farther, burn brighter, last longer. Some seeds are small but sacred. A single act of generosity can become a ripple of healing across countless souls. If you have ever been touched by words that reminded you you're not alone, imagine how many more could feel the same because you helped send light their way. You see, generosity isn't about wealth, it's about will. It's not measured by the size of your hand, but by the sincerity of your heart. Even a drop of water keeps the plant alive when given in love. That's what your giving does. It keeps this flow alive, keeps the oil pouring, keeps the message moving toward the next wounded heart. You are part of something eternal, chosen one. These aren't just videos, they're vessels. Every like, every share, every seed becomes part of a divine ecosystem, light feeding light. Faith, igniting faith. You are no longer just receiving, you are now co-laboring with heaven and spreading awakening across the earth. So keep growing, keep glowing, keep giving where you feel led. The soil beneath your faith is fertile, and what you sow now will return multiplied not in coins but in clarity, courage, and divine connection. For those who have ears to hear, this is not just another message, it is your invitation to bloom in the presence of your Creator. Step forward and let heaven see your obedience. Chosen one, heaven is moving pieces you cannot see. While you wonder if anything is happening, the unseen realm is alive with divine strategy. Angels have been dispatched. Prayers you thought were forgotten are now echoing through eternity. And every delay has been marked for divine reversal. This is heaven's countermove, the response to every scheme that tried to silence your song. You may not realize it, but every battle you faced has drawn the attention of heaven. When the enemy thought you were broken, God saw endurance. When darkness thought it had the final word, heaven whispered, "Not yet." You were not abandoned. You were being observed. The courtroom of heaven recorded every injustice, every false accusation, every tear shed in secret. And now, justice is being written in your favor. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5, "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." This, beloved, is your morning. The night didn't last forever. It was long, yes, but the sunrise always knew its time. You have carried pain long enough. The season of mourning has reached its conclusion, and joy is stepping through the door of your life. The turnaround will not be gradual, it will be divine. The very thing that humbled you will soon honor you. The very ground that saw your tears will witness your triumph. Heaven's counterattack is always poetic. It redeems through reversal. The pit becomes a platform. The scar becomes a story. The rejection becomes redirection. And you, chosen one, are stepping into a divine plot twist. Those who once doubted you will have no choice but to witness what God does next. Think about Joseph, betrayed by brothers and forgotten in prison, yet in one day, he went from prisoner to ruler. Or think about Hannah, mocked for her barrenness, who later gave birth to a prophet. That's the kind of sudden shift heaven is preparing for you. The same pressure that once broke you is now producing power. The oil that flows from your life was costly, and now it will pour freely to others. Heaven's moves are quiet but decisive. You won't always see thunder or lightning. Sometimes the shift happens softly. An unexpected message, a door reopened, a peace you can't explain. These are heaven's subtle signs. When the divine steps in, chaos begins to lose its voice. The wind calms, the storm obeys, and suddenly, what you once feared no longer holds power over you. There will be days ahead when you'll look back and barely recognize the person who once cried for survival. You will wonder, how did I make it through that? And heaven will remind you it wasn't your strength, it was grace carrying you the whole time. You didn't stumble into victory, you were escorted. The counter move is not just restoration, it's revelation. God is showing you who you've always been beneath the pain. The fire didn't destroy you, it refined you. You are not coming out empty-handed. You are coming out endowed with wisdom, discernment, and authority that only warfare can produce. And when the blessing arrives, remember it's not just for celebration but continuation. What you receive is meant to release. The peace you find is meant to pour. The light that surrounds you is meant to shine outward. You are blessed to become a blessing. You are rescued to become a rescuer. Now, chosen one, as you read these words, take a deep breath. Feel the weight begin to lift. You've carried enough for many lifetimes, and heaven is saying you can put it down now. The fight is shifting from your hands to God's. You no longer need to force outcomes. Grace is moving faster than your striving ever could. Let this truth sink deep. You are not behind. You are precisely on time. The seasons that seemed wasted were weaving your wisdom. The waiting built your wings. And now, heaven's timing meets your readiness. If you feel this truth stirring inside you, make a declaration. Type these words in the comments: I receive restoration. Write it not as ritual, but as revelation. You are not typing for me, you are speaking to heaven. When you declare those 3 words, you announce agreement with God's countermove. You are telling the unseen world that you believe again that every delay will now deliver destiny. Each letter becomes a seed of surrender. Each word a spark of faith. Let your fingers become instruments of prophecy. As you write, imagine chains breaking, old pain dissolving, and light flooding your heart. You are aligning your voice with heaven's decree. Restoration is not coming, it has already begun. Soon, you will see the signs. Conversations that once drained you will suddenly end. People meant for your future will find you without your effort. Opportunities that align with your purpose will appear without explanation. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations that heaven's hand is moving again. Be still. Trust the process. The game board of your life is shifting, and this time, the King himself is making the move. The fire within you has never gone out. It has only changed color. Once it burned wild and desperate, fueled by the hunger to prove yourself. But now it burns steady and deep, sustained by purpose, not pressure. This is what maturity looks like in the Spirit. Your flame no longer seeks to be seen. It seeks to transform. Chosen one, the fire inside you has been refined through time, tears, and trial. It has passed through winds meant to extinguish it, yet somehow it still burns. This is not the same fire you started with. It is quieter, wiser, and purer. It no longer flares up in reaction. It glows with revelation. You have learned that not every battle deserves your energy, and not every argument requires your flame. You have discovered the discipline of discernment. There was a time when you thought passion alone would carry you. You tried to ignite others, to convince, to prove, to defend the call on your life. But you've learned that real fire doesn't need to scream, it simply burns, and everything near it must respond. You are learning to let your presence preach before your words ever do. You have become the flame that teaches by warmth, not by noise. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 66, verse 10. For you, God, tested us. You refined us like silver. And that's exactly what this season has been, a refining. The heat has been intentional, the pressure purposeful. What felt like punishment was purification. The tests weren't sent to destroy your spirit, but to reveal your essence. The fire never comes to consume gold. It comes to reveal its shine. Every time life turned up the temperature, something false burned away. Fear melted, pride cracked, doubt dissolved, and what remained was authenticity, raw, radiant, and real. There is a beauty to becoming through fire. It teaches you that transformation is rarely gentle. Sometimes it roars. Sometimes it scorches. Sometimes it strips you bare until all that's left is truth. And yet, that truth is your strength. That's why your voice sounds different now, than your prayers carry weight. Your silence carries presence. Your existence, without even trying, shifts the air around you. You've entered the phase where you no longer chase validation. You emanate value. The flame within you no longer begs to be noticed. It invites others to feel. People sense it when you enter a room. They may not understand it, but they feel something ancient, something holy, something alive. You carry the residue of the fire you survived. Remember, chosen one fire both purifies and illuminates. It burns away the unnecessary and reveals what's eternal. Every situation that tested you was heaven's way of saying, I'm making you ready. Ready to carry what others could not. Ready to endure what others would not. Ready to walk into places that require light born from pain. You are that light. You are the evidence that divine endurance exists. You are proof that grace does not eliminate fire, it sustains you through it. When others see ashes, heaven sees an altar. You didn't just survive, you were sanctified. And this inner fire, it's not merely for yourself, it is a beacon. Somewhere. Someone stands in the dark wondering if they can make it through their own flames. And when they meet you, they will find hope that fire doesn't always destroy. It can also define. They will see in your eyes the reflection of their own future healing. The world may never understand the price you paid to carry this light. It will only see the glow, not the furnace. But you will know. You will know that the glow is not performance, it is memory. It is the echo of every yes you whispered when no one else believed. It is the proof that surrender can coexist with strength. There will be moments when the fire feels small again, when life presses in and you wonder if the light will last. In those moments, remember fire feeds on focus. The more you turn toward what is divine, the stronger your flame becomes. Neglect it, and it flickers. Nurture it, and it blazes. Every act of gratitude, every whispered prayer, every quiet moment of surrender, it all adds fuel. And know this: not every spark must become a blaze. Sometimes your purpose is not to burn everything around you, but simply to bring warmth to the cold. Your presence is healing. Your calm is a sermon. You carry not just the fire of transformation, but the gentleness of wisdom. You are no longer the storm, you are the light after it. Chosen one. Hold your fire sacred and protect it from cynicism, from bitterness, from the temptation to dim just to make others comfortable. The world needs your light exactly as it is: steady, strong, alive. You've been through too much to hide your heat now. Let it glow quietly, confidently, continually. Because somewhere in some unseen corner, another flame is flickering, and your endurance will teach it how to last. Chosen one. Mercy is still standing at your door, knocking softly, waiting for your answer. You are closer than you realize to a moment that will define everything that follows. Heaven has been patient, waiting for your yes, not the kind you speak with lips, but the one your life revealed. But this is the final warning before the new chapter begins. Do not let hesitation silence what heaven has written. You can feel it, can't you? That trembling in your spirit, that quiet urgency pressing against your chest. It's not fear, it's holy invitation. You are standing in the space between grace extended and grace expired, between divine mercy and divine movement. Heaven is offering you the key, but only you can turn it. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15 today. If you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Every day you wait, the world shifts a little more. The doors that are open today may not remain so tomorrow. The timing of heaven is like the tide, it comes with power, but it will not wait forever. When mercy moves, it invites. When it departs, it leaves silence. And this moment, beloved, is mercy calling your name one more time. You've felt heaven tug at you before. The gentle conviction, the still small voice, the signs that seem too specific to be coincidence, all of them have been divine attempts to awaken you fully. You are never running from punishment, you are running from purpose. But the more you run, the more it follows. Destiny has a way of haunting the ones marked by heaven. It is not too late. You haven't missed your moment, you've been measured for it. God is not angry with you, he is jealous for you. The space you feel inside, that hollow ache that nothing fills, is where he belongs. You've tried to fill it with distractions, achievements, relationships, noise, yet the emptiness remains because it is shaped only for divine presence. Chosen one, you have reached the edge of choice, the place where conviction and surrender meet. God won't force your obedience, but he will keep calling until the sound of his love becomes unmistakable. You can feel it now, can't you? That heat behind your eyes, that pounding heartbeat, it's your soul remembering where it came from. Think of your life like a lantern that's been dim for too long. The oil has thinned, the wick nearly gone, but the spark still exists. All it takes is one act of surrender for the flame to leap again. Every like, every share, every connection you've made to messages like this, they are small breaths of oxygen keeping your light alive. And now, the keeper of the flame leans close, whispering, "Let me reignite you." If these words reach a part of you that language rarely touches, let that be your sign. This isn't manipulation. It's mercy. This is heaven reminding you that you matter, that you still have purpose, that there's still more to write. If your heart is beating faster, that's your confirmation. This message is not coincidence, it's calibration. You are being pulled back into alignment with divine rhythm. If this voice has spoken to your soul tonight, if it's reminded you of the truth you almost forgot, like this message as your sign of agreement, it's a quiet nod to heaven, a way of saying, "I hear you." And if your spirit feels the weight of this word, Share it. Not for attention, but for rescue. Someone else out there is where you once were tired, uncertain, numb. Your simple act of sharing might become their turning point. You could be the hand that pulls another soul back from despair. Stay connected to this stream of divine reminders. Subscribe if you haven't. These words are not entertainment, they are manna. Each one is a spark of light for nights when you forget how to hope. Let them meet you again and again until the flame burns steady. And for those who have been blessed by these words and feel led, donate not because of demand, but out of devotion. Your giving doesn't just sustain a voice, it sustains a movement. Every seed sown becomes a bridge that carries light further to prisons, hospital rooms, lonely apartments, and quiet hearts scrolling through darkness. Think of your gift as pouring oil into the lamp that lights another soul's night. You see, generosity isn't about transaction, it's about transformation. When you give, you say to heaven, "Use me to keep the light burning." The seed leaves your hand, but it never leaves your life. It returns multiplied in peace, in alignment, in divine encounters that money can't buy. Beloved, this is your moment of surrender. The tension you feel isn't punishment, it's birth. Something new is trying to emerge, and all heaven asks is your yes. Don't let the noise drown the whisper. Don't let hesitation become disobedience. This moment, this holy, trembling, heart-stirring moment is where destiny waits with open hands. Mercy stands before you. The door is open and the light is on. Step through it. Chosen one. This is the moment of return, the turning point where everything that tried to bury you must now watch you rise. The season of silence has ended. Heaven is calling you to walk out of the shadows and step boldly into your divine restoration. The pain that once defined you will now become the platform that refines you. You have walked through storms that should have drowned you, yet somehow you stand. You have carried burdens that bent your shoulders, yet you did not break. Every scar, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, they are now becoming the evidence of your endurance. You were not preserved by luck, you were protected by purpose. The world may not understand what you carry, but heaven does. You are not just surviving anymore, you are stepping into the era of fulfillment. The things you cried for are beginning to align. Promises that felt distant are approaching. The chapter that starts now is not about proving yourself. It is about becoming yourself. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." This scripture isn't a gentle suggestion, it is divine instruction. The next stage of your life will require trust deeper than logic. You won't always see the full path, but you will feel the next step. You must learn to walk by faith even when sight fails. God is not asking you to figure it out, He's asking you to follow. You've been through the breaking. Now comes the building. Heaven is restoring you piece by piece, but not as you were before, stronger, wiser, holier. Restoration doesn't mean returning to what was lost. It means being renewed into something greater. The fire you faced has refined you into gold, and gold doesn't fear the flame, it carries it. The time of hiddenness was necessary. It taught you to hear the voice of God without needing an audience. It taught you to walk when no one was cheering, to pray when no one was listening. And because of that, when the world sees you're rising, they'll think it happened suddenly, but you in heaven will know the truth. You were being prepared in silence for this moment of sound. Your voice, chosen one, carries weight now. Not because of eloquence, but because of endurance. The authority you carry was born through suffering. The oil on your life was crushed from pain, but now it glistens with glory. What once looked like defeat was really divine training. When you speak now, Hearts will tremble not because of you, but because the one who walked with you through the valley still speaks through you. When you move, atmospheres will shift. When you pray, doors will answer. When you show up, chains will break. Because you are no longer the same, you are commissioned. Heaven is releasing a crown over your life, not of gold or jewels, but of glory and grace. You have been faithful with little. Now the divine eyes turn toward you with favor. Doors that were shut will open without knocking. People who once overlooked you will seek your wisdom. Provision will find you before you even ask. These are not rewards, they are confirmations that obedience never goes unnoticed. But remember, restoration is not for comfort, it is for calling. You are not being elevated to sit higher, you are being sent to reach lower. The crown you carry is not for display, it is for service. You are a vessel, a voice, a bridge. The glory that surrounds you now is meant to heal others, to awaken others, to remind the world that God still redeems. You stand at the threshold of destiny fulfilled. The waiting has ended. The wandering has ceased. Heaven's light falls on your path, and for the first time, it all feels clear. You no longer question the pain, you bless it. You no longer resent the process, you revere it. Because through it, you became unbreakable. And now, heaven asks for your response not in words alone, but in faith. Type the number 555 in the comments as your declaration that divine restoration has begun. 5 is the number of grace, and this triple sequence carries prophetic meaning: complete grace, multiplied favor, divine restoration. When you write that number, imagine yourself stepping through the final threshold out of delay into destiny. Each digit you type becomes a footprint of faith, marking your agreement with heaven's movement. You're not typing randomly. You're declaring prophetically, I am restored. I am ready. I am crowned. Let that number be your memorial stone, your silent altar, your act of gratitude. It is your yes to the new season that has already begun. Chosen one, this is the moment heaven dreamed of, the moment you would rise from ashes wearing light instead of pain. You are not returning to who you were. You are emerging as who you were meant to be all along. The world will see the crown, but heaven will remember the cost. You have been refined, revived, and reappointed. Your name is written in the story of those who endured. Your light is not just shining again. It is ruling the darkness. Rise, crowned one. The return is complete. Chosen one. You've walked with me through the fire and the silence, through the ache and the awakening. Now you stand at the edge of a new dawn, clothed in light you once prayed to see. Heaven is smiling over you not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. The storm didn't break you, it built you. The journey didn't end you, it unveiled you. Every step, every tear, every whisper of surrender has brought you here to this sacred moment of becoming. You are no longer the seeker, you are the found. You are no longer reaching for purpose, you are walking in it. Heaven has marked your steps, and what comes next will not be a return to the old, but a resurrection into the new. If this message stirred something deep in you, like it not as habit, but as a symbol of gratitude. It is a simple way of saying, I receive this truth. When you press that heart or thumbs up, you echo the heartbeat of heaven that says, yes, this was for me. And if this journey spoke to your soul, share it. You never know who might need this reminder that light still wins, that grace still finds, that hope still breathes. Someone, somewhere, may scroll past your post and find the word that saves them. Take a moment to comment below, share what line, what truth, what whisper stayed with you. Your words might become another's healing, And if you wish to stay connected to this divine rhythm, subscribe. These messages are not just words, they're ongoing encounters meant to keep your spirit burning bright. You are not alone in this awakening. Together, we carry the flame.